Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to look at the top 10 most famous civil rights leaders. Make sure to watch all the way to number 1 because it just might surprise you. Number 10, Rosa Parks. This one might be a shocker to some of you, but there are plenty of reasons why Rosa Parks is considered a leader in the civil rights movement. Her refusal to give up her bus seat to a white man in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955 sparked the Montgomery bus boycott. The success of the year-long protest helped launch the national civil rights movement and paved the way for desegregation of public transportation. While she was not the first African-American woman to refuse to give up her seat, she became the most recognized for her quiet strength and bravery. Her act of defiance inspired the young Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and many others. She was also instrumental in organizing the Women's Political Council, which sought to address issues such as voter disenfranchisement, segregation, and employment discrimination through nonviolent means. Number 9, Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers was a World War II veteran who became a leader in the NAACP's effort to end segregation in the South. He investigated and documented racial violence, including the 1955 murder of Emmett Till. His work led to increased tensions with white supremacists until his own assassination in 1963. Despite threats and harassment from white supremacists, he continued to fight for civil rights. Medgar was the field secretary for the NAACP and worked to organize protests against segregated businesses and public facilities. He was also involved in registering black voters, and he helped organize the 1962 March on Washington, which drew attention to the need for federal civil rights legislation. His death was a major turning point in the civil rights movement, galvanizing support for the cause and leading to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Number 8, James Farmer. James Farmer was an African-American activist who played a key role in the civil rights movement. He was the founder of the Congress of Racial Equality, or CORE, which organized nonviolent direct action protests against segregation. In 1961, Farmer led the Freedom Rides, which challenged the desegregation of interstate transportation. Despite being arrested several times, his courage and determination helped to bring about significant change. He refused to be intimidated by the violence and hatred directed toward him and his fellow activists, and remained committed to the cause of racial equality. After the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Farmer continued to work for social justice and equality, becoming a vocal critic of the Vietnam War and the continued presence of racial discrimination in American society. Number 7, Bayard Rustin. A largely unknown figure during the movement due to his sexuality, Bayard Rustin was a brilliant organizer and strategist who played a pivotal role behind the scenes. He was one of the masterminds behind the 1963 March on Washington, where he helped organize the logistics and the famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Despite facing persecution for being gay, he remained committed to the cause of civil rights and equality. Rustin's contributions were instrumental in advancing the movement and achieving significant legislative victories such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. However, his legacy has been overshadowed by the fact that he was gay, and many of his accomplishments have been erased from history. Number 6, Malcolm X. Born Malcolm Little, this controversial Muslim minister was a prominent figure in the civil rights movement who advocated for black empowerment and self-defense in the face of white America's persistent racism. He gained prominence as a member of the Nation of Islam, delivering powerful speeches that called for black pride and self-reliance. While his views on race relations were often seen as radical and separatist, he challenged the nonviolent approach of Martin Luther King Jr. and forced the civil rights movement to confront the realities of white violence and oppression. Malcolm X's influence extended beyond the civil rights movement, inspiring generations of black activists and intellectuals to demand social change and racial equality. After breaking away from the Nation of Islam, he began to advocate for a more inclusive vision of human rights and racial equality. His assassination in 1965 deprived the civil rights movement of one of its most passionate and articulate advocates. Number 5, John Lewis. Representative John Lewis was an American politician and civil rights activist who played a pivotal role in the advancement of civil rights in the United States. As a young man, he was a key member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, which organized sit-ins, freedom rides, and voter registration drives across the American South. He was also one of the 6 organizers of the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered a powerful speech calling for racial equality and an end to discrimination. Lewis faced arrest and imprisonment numerous times throughout his activism, but his commitment to nonviolent resistance never wavered. He continued to fight for voting rights and economic justice throughout his life. His contributions to the civil rights movement helped pave the way for the passage of landmark legislation, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Number 4, Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall was a lawyer who argued successfully before the Supreme Court in Brown v. Board of Education, which declared racial segregation in schools unconstitutional. He was a pivotal figure in the civil rights movement, helping to dismantle legal barriers that enforced racial discrimination. After serving as a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, he was appointed by President Lyndon B. Johnson to the Supreme Court in 1967. There, he continued to advocate for civil rights and became known as one of the most liberal justices on the court. Throughout his career, Marshall faced opposition and criticism due to his race and his progressive views. But he persevered, leaving a lasting legacy as a champion for social justice and equality. Number 3, Whitney Young, Jr. Whitney Young, Jr. was an African-American civil rights activist who served as the executive director of the National Urban League from 1961 to 1971. During his tenure, he worked tirelessly to address issues such as poverty, education, and employment discrimination. Young advocated for a pragmatic and moderate approach to civil rights, emphasizing the importance of economic self-sufficiency and educational attainment. He believed that by improving the economic status of African Americans, they would be better able to participate in the political process and fight for social change. His work helped to improve the lives of countless African Americans, and he is remembered as one of the most effective leaders of the civil rights movement. Number 2, Martin Luther King, Jr. Martin Luther King, Jr. was a Baptist minister and activist who became the most visible spokesperson and leader of the civil rights movement. He advanced civil rights through nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience, drawing inspiration from his Christian faith and the activism of Mahatma Gandhi. King played a pivotal role in organizing protests and demonstrations across the United States, including the Montgomery bus boycott, the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, and the Selma to Montgomery marches. His powerful speeches and unwavering commitment to nonviolence helped to raise awareness of the struggles faced by African Americans and put pressure on the federal government to pass civil rights legislation. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 for his work and continued to advocate for social justice and equality until his assassination in 1968. His legacy continues to inspire activists and leaders around the world. Number 1, Nelson Mandela. While he wasn't American, Nelson Mandela deserves to be number 1 on this list. He was a revolutionary and political leader who served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was a key figure in the struggle to end apartheid, the system of racial segregation and discrimination in South Africa. Mandela co-founded the militant wing of the African National Congress, or ANC, Umkhonto we Sizwe, and was involved in numerous acts of sabotage against the South African government. He was arrested in 1962 and sentenced to life in prison for his activities. Despite spending 27 years in prison, Mandela's dedication to the struggle for equality and justice did not waver. He became a global icon of resistance against oppression, and his name became synonymous with the struggle against apartheid. Following his release from prison in 1990, Mandela played a key role in negotiating the end of apartheid and the transition to a multiracial democracy in South Africa. He was elected as the country's first black president in 1994, making him a symbol of hope and reconciliation. Mandela's leadership and commitment to justice continue to inspire people around the world. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about amazing people who have made a difference in our world, be sure to check out our other videos. We look forward to seeing you next time.